Well, hello and welcome. Today we're going to talk about predictions from the Bible. The Torah, it's the Bible code, the Torah code. What is it? Did it predict the future? Has it predicted things that could be happening? And something very interesting that I want to share with you regarding the specifics. I'm going to show you the actual quotes and predictions, and I'm going to show you exactly how they lay in the Bible, but more important, another book that may shock you that's related to the journey on discovering the Torah codes. You ready? Let's talk about the future predictions. Let's go. Welcome to Landria, Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through fears and live an amazing life. No, I'm not doing clickbait. I'm actually talking about exactly what those titles say. And today I'm actually going to show you. You guys will show it to me. Now there's some things, especially with Edgar Cayce, that are open to interpretation because it's so convoluted and skewed. But today, the Torah codes are very specific. In fact, I'm going to show them to you. We're going to do that in a moment. So, of course, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe. This is part of the equation of what's going on out there that says, this is what I like, this is what I focus on, I start to create it, and the wave, probability becomes a particle. It's in what you watch, what you read, what you speak, what you believe, and what you subscribe to. So let's get things in order because we're going to go into a very challenging time that is actually very positive. Why? Because we have to change what's going on here on the planet because it's not working. And I believe that's what's happening to all of us. So many of you writing me and people that I know, everyone I know has gone through something. My friend had a stent put in. He was shocked. He had this thing. My other friend, she had a back operation. Another friend, a spouse died. We've had animals die. Family member, it's going on and on. I moved suddenly. What does this mean? There are openings for a new reality that just shifts. Every time somebody leaves the planet or you shift your energy field, we go into a completely different reality. I want to talk about that today because these future, these predictions, there's something about them you must know. All right, when you go down the description, you guys are asking about my hair. What I want to share with you is every choice you're making has to be congruent with the new world we're going to go into. And we are going into a new world. That means I have to start living it right now. I have to choose things that are healthier. I have to eat things that are healthier. I have to think healthier. And we have to stop arguing with one another. Boy, you guys are going at each other about the politics. It was sort of an example of what's still going on out there that's not working. It doesn't matter because you are totally in control of that future and no person or government or corporation controls that. Your thoughts or anything else you do. There are amazing things happening and you actually have full control over them. We're going into an era where you're actually going to start to use these powers. And we're going to talk more and more about this because I want to enable you to go into that space where you can actually have a thought, not, please, may I have a new job or money or health. No, that's begging, that's coming from lack. You're going to learn how to go into the space where you know it is done. And the Bible says this. No, it is done. That's the key. It's tough because you say, well, how can I know it's done when I'm feeling it here? I have pain. How do I know it's done? All I'm experiencing is pain. Well, then we have to go into a space. We know there's a reality that exists where you are healthy, where you're not in pain, where you are abundant. All these things exist. Now, don't forget, this is the learning planet, and we're going to talk about this future, this Torah code. It's a learning planet. That means it is not in stone. Why would we come here if everything was just going to play out exactly like we are told it is with these predictions and these readings people give you? You can change anything. Now I had a psychic. Wow, I wish I could find her. She was amazing. She predicted that I would have this best-selling book, that people would know my name from my book. Well, if you guys know, I have a book that was turned into a television movie. It's showing on Amazon Prime right now. It shows on television all over the world every year because it's a holiday movie. As you know, I've written another book that I believe is even more important, and that's Breakthrough Fear, Your Spiritual Butt Kick. Now, what does this mean? The person who shared this information with, by the way, a whole number of things, that every single one of them have come true except for one, and I'm still waiting for that to happen. She told me, I want you to take this in, none of this will come true if you do not take the action, if you do not choose it. So she says, if I tell you something, you can't just sit back and say, oh, I'm going to write a best-selling book. She says, you have to write the book. You have to take the action to make that happen. But a lot of people, they say, oh, it's just going to happen. It's fate. That is not how it works. You are always in control of your choice. We have free will. You guys who you want other people, I want my family, my friends, I want them to awaken. I'm like, then work on your ego, because you wanting them to be different says that your ego wants things to be a certain way. You're not accepting that. And this goes with our elections. It is what it is. It's playing out exactly the way it's supposed to. Whether that was your choice or not, you're participating in the events that are happening from that shifted reality, right? And it's going to shift and shift constantly. In every moment it does. Every thought is shifting. Now let's talk about the Bible codes. These were discovered by somebody who was every 42 words, I think it was, would pull a letter out. This has been, by the way, predicted for hundreds of years. This is not something recent. Hundreds of years this has been predicted. I'm going to give you a little history here, and I'm going to actually show you the words that have been pulled out. And I'm going to share with you something very interesting about that. But before we do this, I want you to remember one thing. What we're going to talk about today is very encouraging, because there is no one thing in stone unless we allow it. We go along with it, and every prediction is how things look at the moment. So if somebody says we're going to go into a cataclysmic event, we can change it. And that has been said in the Torah codes. You can change it. All right? The Bible says that. Over and over, everybody who's predicted said, you can change this. They are not in stone predictions. They are what could happen based on our thinking at the moment and warnings of what we may not want to happen, to change it and do something different. And this happened with an assassination prediction with two people who did not take action to change what was in motion. That's what's happening with all of us. The things that are in motion can always be changed. Everything that happens that you believe is not positive is absolutely divine, has divine purpose. Why? We are on the learning planet, and everybody's trying to avoid it. I don't want it to be this. It should be this. No. Go into it. Because when you go into it, what do I learn from it? What do I need to change? How do I change myself to go into higher frequency? How do I stop judging and arguing and saying this is how things should be? Because you're so attached to the material world, we got to let it go. And if you let go of that material world right now, you'll go into space of manifestation that will blow your mind. All right? And you can say, oh, that's bad. And then you see the results of what you think was bad takes you to something higher, only if you make the higher choice. So let's go into this right now. So according to Michael Drosnin's book, The Bible Code, the assassination of Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin was predicted in the Bible. He claims that he discovered a biblical passage that suggested Rabin would be assassinated and delivered a warning letter in 1994 because the event had not taken place. Of course, it was ignored, and Rabin was shot and killed a year later. He considered it a dramatic confirmation of the Bible Code. It's also known as the Torah Code. It's actually a set of words in the Hebrew text of the Torah that some say have predicted important historical events. So a final claim was that Palestinian Authority leader Yasser Arafat would allegedly be assassinated by being shot to death by gunmen, which Drosnin specifically stated would be from the Palestinian Hamas movement. Kennedy's assassination was predicted, and these were actually named in years. Some of them even named the assassin. other big events and cataclysmic coming events have been predicted, but now here's when it started to fail. Over and over and over, these future events, especially wars, never happen. Just like when we talked about Edgar Cayce. They give these descriptions, but I believe these are warnings. But supposedly the Bible has every person in there, even you. A substantial writing such as Moby Dick, they could do the same thing, and sure enough, they did. So Michael Drosnin first said, when my critics find a message about the assassination of a prime minister encrypted in Moby Dick, I'll believe them. Well, here it is. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was predicted on October 31st, 1984. He was killed. Lebanese President René Moab was killed November 22nd, 1989, when a bomb exploded beside his car. It gives his name, and it says, burst open the door, as you can see in these illustrations. Soviet exile Leon Trotsky was executed with an ice pick on August 20th, 1940. It says, executed, the steelhead of the lance. Okay, that's pretty specific. And it says hammer. Reverend Martin Luther King, fatally shot April 4th, 1968, says, to be killed by them, prepare for death, and has his name. This is coming from Moby Dick. But as you can see, it gets very skewed. And so what does that mean? Well, we can probably find this in any substantial writing. As I said, if you get a computer that's pretty clever, which they started to use more advanced computers, they could name anything. Princess Diana's death was also predicted by Moby Dick. So as you can see, pretty interesting, isn't it? When it was proven that Moby Dick could predict too. Why? We can probably do that with any substantial publication. We can make it work. We can make it fit. Now, what was happening is the more predictions he found for the future, the less it became true. All right? That's what happened with Edgar Cayce. That happened with Nostradamus. And so people say they were wrong, and we're not understanding they aren't wrong. They're seeing a reality. And at that moment, that might have been the mindset of the collective. And if it changes, that reality no longer changes, and we are on another trajectory. It's going to happen somewhere. It's always happening. We're all one thing happening. There's no such thing as time. However, they are not wrong. If you go into a space, you can tap into this also. And I'm going to talk about this in an upcoming video. And Edgar Cayce taught that the seer is always influencing the results. If you have a negative attitude, you can predict all kinds of nasty stuff. Because you believe it, your ego will always interfere. So be careful with these people predicting things, especially channelers. Oh, just because you're channeling doesn't mean that source that's giving the information is the real deal or has good intentions. There's every kind of frequency and everything exists. There's no one absolute source except for the source that is all things. And that's of the highest power, but it is not separate from you. You are an expression of this one power. I am too. And that other that you can't stand is your greatest teacher. And so instead of fighting it, calling them wrong, arguing, which is how we function here, this is why we have all kinds of conflict, it has to end. How do we resolve anything? And I want you to start looking at your own life and saying, how do I resolve these issues? What am I doing about this? And instead of chastising other people, say, I am not here to tell somebody they're wrong. I'm here to ask myself how I can be of service. And so you have to say, okay, if this is a problem on the planet, what am I doing to change it? It really comes down to just that. So I hope you enjoyed this, because I think it's fascinating, and I think it's real personally. I do think it's real, but I do think that it can change or be manipulated to whatever we want. We're so powerful, we can create anything, and we can see anything. Watch where your frequency is, because your world will be created according to that. And what you're going to manifest, that's real. That's where you are. So if you say, well, no, I'm on a high frequency, Landria, I'll say, well, then maybe you haven't understood that the challenge you just got was an opening to master something so that now you can go into something even more powerful. I just said to a friend, I said, moving, right? I was told that my lease was up, and I know it wasn't. And I looked at the paperwork. I had another year, and I said, wait a minute, this isn't open. I have an opportunity to leave here. I didn't like how noisy it was over there. Do you hear this? Yeah, nothing. Not even the crazy crows that were over there. So I saw that as an opportunity. Maybe moving is the best thing that could happen for me, and it has been. The energy will shift. Whatever's happening for you, what can I master in this? How can I take control of this situation? What can I learn from it? And how do I serve others instead of worried about me, and telling people their wrong? Judgment, insults, conflict, separation is the basement. Doesn't matter what the subject is. If you're in the basement arguing with other people, you're never going to see the sunshine or the penthouse. Yeah? My father has many mansions. We're in one of them. This matrix, and we've created it. We built this mansion, and we can change it anytime we want, and you can go on any floor. And the higher frequency you go, the brighter it gets, the more opportunities, the more gifts that are there, the more people will operate as a loving community, and it gets better and better and better and better, and you have access to that. No one is left out, ever. No one's left behind, because you're eternal. So whatever somebody's doing here, they may be the teacher for you to learn, and maybe they decided to step in to be that teacher. It's just that simple. Can we all just love one another? All right, so I hope you'll purchase the book. I talk about the tipping point, how we've gone into it, and my final chapter is called The Knowing. When you go into the knowing, this all will make perfect sense. It may not make it easier, but you'll be in a place of peace, and you'll realize everything has divine purpose, and I came here and I signed up for it. How am I going to contribute? That's really your number one thing. The other thing too is, so I wanted to share with you guys, those of you wondering, I wash my hair and I don't do anything. I just let it dry. Have you noticed it's really curly and shiny? I've got this down in the description. You can find the products that I use with no plastic. The whole point is not only is it vegan, non-toxic, but it doesn't come in plastic. It's a bar. It actually makes twice as much, has twice as many shampoos as a regular container that you think you're saving money. So this is a great, I've had people write me and say, this is amazing. Guys and gals, I happen to use Frizz Wrangler for drier frizzy hair, but they have all kinds. They smell amazing. They also have conditioners. Those of you who are entrepreneurial, you want to create a planet conscious business. We're doing it, right? We're purchasing products. These are supporting these businesses, right? And this is my creation. I saw a big gap in the market for people who say, I want to earn money online and I want to do good things, but not finding anything or not knowing what they want to do. And there was no platform that helps them find out what to do, but has a focus on doing good things. And that's what we do. But once you put that together, and there's a whole process I take you through, what is it you're supposed to be doing? Then we monetize it. We research it. We make sure there's a market for it. We figure out how to price things. Do you want to publish a book? Do you want to sell products? Do you want to be a coach? And then we have multiple income streams. You're not just a coach or sell products. We expand you with a real business strategy so that you could eventually get funding from a bank, have an investor purchase it. But if you go out there willy-nilly, I just want to make money, here's a good way to do it. There's no training. There's no training for something you own that's extensive. You learn certain things, and then you're trying to learn how to have a YouTube channel, all these things. You never have to leave my platform. I teach you all that stuff. Whatever you want, we supply that training. Unless you want to be an expert, then you go off. I'm giving you opportunities. And so if you go into the description, it's called Digital Explorers, and you'll see New Start. Click on that. That's a free webinar. And you can find out what it's all about. It's time to explore, and it's time to take charge of our lives. And we can be abundant, and we can earn money doing it. All right, we can earn money doing it. There's nothing wrong with it. We got to get out of that limiting thinking. If you're limiting your thoughts about abundance or health or relationships, or you're not good enough, then you just don't know what you are, because you are whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. So buckle up. It's all good. It's the lease that was broken, that really was signed for a couple more years, that opened an opportunity for this. And I'll see you in the next video. Namaste.